so let's talk about swerving in this video, and that's, for those who don't know this channel at all, swerving is a very specific term that I use as we get ath, ill-fated, three things, but let me just make sure. Ath, ill-fated. We'll talk about swerving later. We have timestamps for a reason. But, as we move on to a next character as well, yeah, swerving is a heck of a thing, and I'll talk about it in a moment. That being said, I've done a lot of ill-fated runs. I think I've also done this character recently as well, but it should be fine. Thankfully, as we have Ath, so as we get into Ath, ill-fated, character-exclusive, random item, custom character. Yeah, swerving is a term that I use to mention, like, I need to basically change my mind, or I'm changing what I'm doing, maybe I stop or start something new, but it's not for no reason, although staying on a project would probably help out. Second encounter, second mystery, light, dexterity, knowledge, and charisma. In the case of game dev, it is maybe I want to start a new project or stop a project. In the case of, oh my goodness, my stats, by the way, I realize. Hold on, let me think for a moment. I'm still going to take Hard Knock, but we'll see. And we don't have Takshisan, so both seconds immediately, and we're just going to expect to take a bunch of stamina and reason damage. Yeah, in the case of game dev, maybe it's starting or stopping a project to start a new project. Maybe it's changing something I'm doing in a project to do something different. In the case of writing, maybe it's me writing something different. Maybe it's me deciding to say, hey, I need to redo everything I've done. Maybe I need to read a chapter. This is what I mean by swerving. So it's a very, this channel-specific vocabulary. I could use another phrase that's more accurate, but for lack of better words when I'm talking in the moment, like I am now, then yeah, I say swerve. That's what I mean by when I say I have to swerve. So, and part of that goes into the, I guess, the phrase that can be called missed opportunities, as we have teacher, sailors, writer, goal, and taxi. We want to take taxi at some point. I feel like I should take goal at some point as well, but we'll take teacher first and take a bunch of doom in the face, I guess. Yeah, we're gonna prepare for funds. We don't have a lot of doom decreasing if we were to focus for a moment, but maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but hopefully I get to the army knife. I did not. I can grab a pack of cigarettes and start making myself a kick shrine maiden, but let's reroll instead. I'm just gonna reroll until we get the army knife. It's that important. Now, unfortunately, the army knife does a lot less damage, but we need a weapon anyway. Gotta get something working. I think I'm just going to go for prep strongs, but we'll see. If we get out of funds, we'll trade off stamina, but we'll see. I could also trade off experience for funds. That'll help too, but I wonder why there's a roll check. Anywho. So yeah, that doesn't mean so in this particular instance, you might try to infer something. I'll just tell you straight up. I'm working on another project, so I do receive advice and stuff, this does not mean I've stopped my other projects. It's just that I realize so that's right, we're on ill-fated. We have 10 luck, but unfortunately we're on ill-fated. But yeah, it missed opportunities, and I'll explain that in a moment. But yeah, because of some missed opportunities and some, basically some advice, I have decided to swerve on my own project. That's why am I taking these risks? Help! And yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, I'm working on very smaller projects, although technically both of them are kind of medium. So I'll actually this time work on a strictly small project. It has 3 characters at most, but if nothing else, and this is supposed to be a commercial project, it's just by definition. I should probably explain that later too. You know what? I will take 2 stamina damage. I think, yeah, so that it doesn't coincide with Ath, you actually take stamina damage there. But yeah, let's keep moving on. But yeah, actually small projects are, in this case, games that you could play in about an hour or 2. Maybe a little longer, but you would only really do that, if I were to explain, and we put Sensor Bunny on the screen for a moment, you would really only do that if you're going to put a game on Steam. I mainly put my games on itch.io. I've put 2 on Game Jolt, if you count one of them. One of them was more a prototype, but then another one I put very small games on Game Jolt. And itch.io is mainly where I throw games up here and there. But, okay, so yeah, we just have to go all out and hope we don't get badly bleeding. If we do, we are taking other mysteries. I could also opt to throw weapons at this encounter, but I don't think I'm going to do that either. So hopefully we don't get badly bleeding. We did, but it was to be expected. You planned for this, basically, as we remove Sensor Bunny. Also, I think that student was our second encounter. No, it was our first encounter. That school was our second encounter, I think. Well, here's hoping I don't forget. I think we're on our own. Yeah, we're on our own, so we can take this and boost all of our stats. Unfortunately, in my opinion, most of the time, increasing all of your stats is not as great as it sounds. Even if all of your stats are high, you usually want to specialize in one stat, is what I'm trying to say. But, I mean, if all of your stats are at 12, I mean, that's far better than all of your stats being very low and getting 1. Now, there are some instances in where this is true, so even though a majority of the time I'd advise otherwise, or I don't look highly upon... What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to focus on healing this injury. But increasing all of your stats by 1 is powerful at times, but it's not... I feel like 60-65% of the time it's not as great. Because another way to say it is, if I could increase a stat by 5 or increase all stats by 1, I would rather increase a stat by 5 than have every stat increased by 1 in World of Horror. And part of that is, again, if I'm looking at the general benefits, you can usually choose between 1 or 2 choices. Say one event asks you to pick between 2 choices that have a strength check or a dexterity check, or maybe just nothing. But if you had to choose between the 2, that's why, I mean, it's not like having 1 in both stat helps you that much more than having 5 in a stat, if that makes sense. And again, at that point, it's RNG, but other examples include... Did I hit police station, by the way? I did not. Other examples include you're in the middle of an encounter, I'm using the army knife, so I'd want to increase my perception by 5, then rather increase all of my stats by 1. Although, again, in that case, it's kind of iffy, because I like increasing my stat by 1, my strength by 1, and then maybe my perception by 1 so that I can brace more, but... Again, that's to your own liking at that point. I'm just saying, if I were to advise someone, or if I had the choice, I would rather increase a stat by 5 than a stat by 1. The reason I'm partly saying this in my mind is because I've thought about a certain series where I essentially do a kind of a story mode, if that makes any sense, but we'll see. And I will be using custom content too, so I was also deciding whether or not I wanted to put a series like that in a playlist. But anywho. I just realized... Wait, this is goal, right? That was painful. Also because we have guaranteed checks, but... So you do fight some... No, this is Labyrinth. Wait, did I take Labyrinth on accident? What's going on here? I'm going crazy. Anywho. We die here if I don't do anything, so... Did we just die here, actually? Well, first we'll do this. No, we can't really do that. So instead we're going to trade off Reason. And then kick... So we become a Kick Shrine Maiden anyway. Also, I could have attack boosted there, but it doesn't really matter. 89%, the same to me. It's not really the same, but you get the point. But anywho, we'll do one more and then see where we're at. I should still brace, by the way. Yeah, we're going to continue bracing, and hopefully I hit this. If I hit this, I can take another gamble at some point. Never mind, because I was going to miss an attack. That was to be expected, but... I really hoped I didn't. If that was the case, I probably... No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Does it matter? Let's find out. So we're going to pray one more time, and I will see what we can do. We can throw the Caracasa mask, but I don't think that really helps me, so I just have to gamble on a 50-50. This is essentially 50-50, so let's find out. Nope. Missed both 72%. Alright, we're doing another run. That may have been my third mystery, but we'll do another run. Oh, ill-fated. Why do you make so much funny? Cthulhu, Eldritch Parasite. That sounds like a heck of an old god name, by the way. Cthulhu. But, yeah, sure, we'll do Eldritch Parasite. We'll do another video with this character, but for this video, we're going to do our second run, which means we have 3 runs overall. Because Eldritch Parasite is by far not a standard run. And for those who are newer to this channel, I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But for those who are accustomed with this channel, yeah, you know what's going to happen. So, as we get into Cthulhu Eldritch Parasite... Why was I holding Q, by the way? Let's look at the lighthouse anyway. You never know. Maybe we get a stat to 8. Doubt it, but we're going to take 6 stamina and maybe 5 reason as we get the second encounter, and actually that's 9 stamina, isn't it? It is. So light, strength, dexterity, knowledge, so that's 9 stamina right in the middle, sandwich. Second encounter, and then maybe a charisma check if we get the 6th floor. But we don't have Tachi-san again, so whether that's a good or a bad thing, well, hey, we'll find out. But as we get this empty bottle and pretty much not use it, because for whatever, I mean, throwing a bottle of water, well, I mean, this bottle is made of glass, right? So, I mean, it would hurt either way. But, let's see what mysteries we have, and then I can autopilot again. Mermaids, botanist, nails, teen, and television. Well, I guess we'll do I don't remember what's in teen, but we'll find out. We're gonna prepare just to open up funds, but we will first take Expel Evil. But then we'll also continue checking. I use Expel Evil there so I can visit the History Club more, Doom-wise. But we'll see if we can get... We're looking for Ghostly Spear and or Mind Drain, but hey. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I have another month or so, really 2 months max, to get what I need to do done. But really a month if I'm trying to be prudent with my time, because there are things had to happen in real life. I mean, I live in the real world as well, like other people. We did not get a single damage spell, by the way. That makes me really sad. But yeah, it would help out, particularly getting something done within 2 weeks. But we'll see, because I've done my research now. I have gotten my advice, and that's partly why I have to swerve on my own projects. But that doesn't mean I've stopped. But it does mean like 80% of my workload has to shift now. So we'll see. Among other things that I'm doing, because I still crawl forward. I'm definitely not walking or running in other projects. But hey, by the way, not a single Mind Drain and or Ghostly Spear, which makes me really sad. But we'll keep going here. At this point, we're just curious. I might just do a third run. Now, this might actually be the run in which I get neither spell until 100% Doom. In that case, I wonder what my record is trying to roll for Ghostly Spear and or Mind Drain. But you know what? Again, Eldritch Parasite is by far it's not a normal run anyway, so that's why I don't really mind when I'm just sitting here rolling for a long while. But again, we'll go as far as possible. Yeah, at this point, we're just curious. So, this is starting to hurt my own eyes, but, you know, worse has happened before in this game. So, as we finally get Mind Drain, and I think we're just going to visit the monument like 4 times. I'm just going to say 4 times. Unless it asks for funds, which is why we opened up the thingy. We'll take a curse instead. That's fine. Now, I would have liked Ghostly Spear instead, but we didn't get that. So, yeah, we're just going to trade off a bunch of stamina and reason. Or maybe it's going to keep asking for funds. Yep, well, we live with 45% Doom, and off we go. If we run into out of funds, we'll trade off reason. We need to use Mind Drain anyway. But as we get a character-specific event, which doesn't really matter because it was the first event we ran into, the game, that event expects you to have certain things, but I didn't even check what they were, but hey, we'll continue moving on. So again, if you were to receive any other preview, let's hope on luck this time. Hey, we can't heal. we can't even sell it, never mind. Well, off we go. But yeah, the only other preview I'll say is that, yeah, this next project has max 3 characters. And it's not going to take more than an hour or 2 to complete. It's still going to be an RPG Maker game because that's the engine I have the most, I'm most familiar with, but that's what's going to be what happens. And again, none of my projects so far are going to be above $299 USD. And that's all I have to say. By the way, an all encounter doing so much damage to my face, but we'll use Mind Drain. And then we just take our guaranteed out. Eldritch enemy as well, so you can't... There's not a lot of other things you can do. By the way, that's right, I have extra kick damage. Why do I have extra kick damage? Blood Frenzy. Which is odd, because that encounter was still... So, custom enemies are not affected by Blood Frenzy? Question mark? Am I going crazy here? I might be going crazy here. Anywho, off we go. And this is our second encounter, quote-unquote. But, yeah, we can't save Shiro-san. There's a very low chance I survive this run with this much Doom, but we'll struggle till the end. If for any other reason, then hey, you and me can be... You, the viewer, and me can be together audio-wise for the rest of this, video, however long it takes. Future Jordan will know, but present Jordan won't. Anywho. So if nothing else, I should have saved. I should have not visited the monument. I just thought if I were to roll a 66% chance of the monument not asking for funds, I would have hit it, but I didn't. So off we go. We get Old Coin. Is there anything... Probably Blood Frenzy, if anything else, oddly enough? No, because I'm mind draining anyway. So, yeah, if nothing else, I can give you advice here and there. But the reason I said that is because Blood Frenzy... you will benefit from it if you're not taking damage, basically, because obviously you can deal damage and the enemy won't if you defeat an enemy. The caveat here is that most of the time that's not the case, but in this specific instance, where I'm using Mind Drain, I'm just going to be Mind Draining, so I'm not taking any damage. Oh, I should have gotten rid of a Traumatized then. Well, basically this Old Coin is an extra 5 damage, which I guess we'll use now. But, yeah, so if I'm using Mind Drain, only I will benefit from dealing damage, because theoretically speaking, I will not be taking any damage, which means the extra 2 damage I get from guaranteed kicks, because I'm not using a weapon, will allow me to maybe use less Mind Drains. That's the transaction, or that's the connection that's happening here. And I'm getting a bunch of items I can't use. Yeah, if this were a more normal run, yeah, I'd have a lot better time. I don't think I can throw Taiyaki at anything, so we'll just store it instead for the moment. I hope I'm not forgetting to get rid of anything while I have the chance, but as we run... So, this is an unfortunate encounter, because we cannot Mind Drain the second enemy. That being said, we can Mind Drain the first enemy still, and maybe we hit 3 kicks, so that's, again... Blood Frenzy is really helping out here specifically. We'll take a reason damage, but hopefully we hit all 3 kicks. So 90, 90, 90, 73.2%, or is it 72.9%? Forgot my own thing, but hopefully we hit all 3 of these. We do. And then we get a weapon for what it's worth, but it's not really worth it as much. I mean, we can throw it, but... Moving on. I'll just pass every luck check. I don't remember if that... I think that does affect the hospital elevator event. I remember doing an experiment a while back, but hey. Also, I never got the handcuffs, so... Funny, no, I think we just take reason damage here. Yeah, we just take reason damage here. And if possible, I would like to gamble on 72.9%. Essentially, flipping a coin for the rest of this, or for this entire run. Yeah, flipping a coin, so... Not that I really mind taking less damage. Also, why did I lose 2 reason there? Insomnia. So we've taken a lot of reason damage, but hopefully we last. Now, funny enough, having 63% Doom here is not the worst thing. So all things considered, I might actually be able to survive this run. But we'll see, because the mystery torture here has a lot of stamina damage, which I can take, but I would like to if possible. So off we go. And then yeah, we want to actually lose reason. That way when we use Mind Drain, we're not losing as much HP. But hey, yeah, so at a certain point, I can't throw this steak knife. I think we actually... Can we actually get out here? Oh my goodness, dexterity weapons are such garbage. This is better than the other... This is better than rolling 90% kicks 3 times, but I would have expected... yeah, I hate fast weapons. That's a personal preference, by the way. If you have a damage... Well, I have a damage increase, but it's Blood Frenzy, but you get the point. If you get a damage increase with a fast weapon, normally I would say go for it. For me specifically, you just saw why I hate fast weapons, so... I mean... I think one of those Kotorufu choice... one of those choices in that Kotorufu event... removes reason, but... Yeah, it's not great. Part of it is the character, too, or the character stats, but still... It's not a fast weapon if it can't prep attack. Oh, my goodness. Anywho. Moving on with life. So yeah, let's find out what happens here. We are running into a lot of enemies, by the way. This is not normal. I mean, it's too expected, but it's not normal. What do I want to do here? Can I do this? I mean, if I'm gonna gamble so badly, I might as well just go for it. So this is worse than 90% kicks, but it's the only thing that gets me out in one turn. Thankfully, I hit that. You know what? If I'm gonna do that, I might as well take this shovel instead, which, to remind ourselves, we could have saved the monument. I guess we'll see if having an extra 6% Doom would have saved me. So keep that in mind as we continue onward, although I don't mind taking this in the face. Wow, the shovel is so good for me anyway. I would not recommend the shovel for anyone else playing the game, but... Yeah, anywho. I know we have 6 strength, but still. I didn't expect that. Normally you don't expect to be able to do prep strong with the shovel, but in this specific instance. Let's continue onward. So, we're just gonna continue on here. Yeah, so it's here. Something I wanted to say is it's here I realized just how many encounters can exist in this mystery. But anywho, we'll mind drain. We'll see how much we can get by mind draining here. If we hit our reason cap, we will. We just happen to hit it here. I can throw the steak knife or something else. I thought I had something else. Yeah, I have an empty bottle, so let's do that instead. And then just shovel. Didn't get any funds because proc rates are absolutely garbage for me. But you know what? The shovel. I like the shovel. Thankfully that after town effect, faded fumes. Oh no. My rests are less efficient. In a run where they're not efficient anyway. But anywho. So yeah, getting our strength to 9 would allow me to use more stamina essentially. But we'll see. We'll take teen now because I'm a little scared. But also don't remember this mystery, so let's find out. Keeping in mind, we do have some things on demand. We roll an 11 on charisma, so in a separate way. So the reason why I'm mainly sad when I see a character with low stats is because I know my combat is going to be bad. It's not because, oh no, I'm going to fail a lot of events, because as you just saw, the last 2 events I rolled 11. Also though, on Eldritch Parasite here, we are in pain. Also, I never got these handcuffs. Let's get them now. Am I gonna die to... So, if anything else, the most exciting thing in this run, sad as it is to say, is... Am I gonna die by Doom, or am I gonna die by Reason? Let's find out. Place your bets. But, as we continue moving on... So, we're guaranteed to lose 5 Reason, so at this point, I need a light source. But, again, that doesn't mean, as I just mentioned... Yeah, my curious question is, am I gonna die to Doom, or am I gonna die to Reason? Rolled a 12, so... And then we lost more Reason, but... Again, if I were to talk specifically on, hey, do I care about losing more things? Oh, we have to remember, that's right. Never mind. We get to lower Doom. I don't really mind that, but because we have Insomnia, we die to Reason. So that's the answer to the that's the answer to the question. Although it was kind of RNG anyway, but yeah, we die here. So without further ado, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Look at that tentacle, by the way.